Hi guys, welcome back to the Mina Does Art Stuff YouTube channel. My name is Mina and on this channel we do art stuff. So today I decided that we're going to paint some pumpkins. Why not? It is October after all and 'tis the season. So I sketched out these pumpkins just freehand with a pen in my sketchbook. This is the sketchbook that I've been going on and on about that I got from AliExpress a while ago, and I found out because there was watermarks on the pages that the paper is Fabriano 5, which is a 50% cotton watercolor paper. I will have links to this down below, but let's jump into it. I thought these pumpkins would be a really fun way to play around with doing some color mixing because the different segments of the pumpkin make great spaces for doing color mixes. So first up here we are mixing Aussie Red Gold on the left with Lavender. So Aussie Red Gold is by Daniel Smith and Lavender is by Van Gogh, sorry. And so the palette that I'm using is my Granulating watercolor palette that I set up a while ago, and I will try and remember to leave a link for that video where I was setting it up in the description box below. Next up here we are mixing Cobalt Azure Blue by White Nights with Purpurite by Daniel Smith. Apologies for the camera going in and out of focus. I was trying a different setup for filming this video where I had two cameras set up. I had the overhead and a side on, and I will be honest, I'm not entirely happy with how the overhead recorded with this whole focusing in and out. And also the colour wasn't as great with the overhead. I had to do a lot of colour correction in post-production to kind of get it looking right. So now the next pumpkin we are working on is mixing Forest Brown by Schmincke. It's one of their super granulating watercolours, and Aureolin by Holbein. Now that one isn't granulating, but I think I mentioned in that setup video that I wanted to have a standard yellow for mixing going forward. In case I ever did want to use this palette on its own, is what I meant to say. Then we have, next up we have Yellow Ochre by Daniel Smith being mixed with Caput Mortum by Sennelier. Trying to remember all the brands that I have in there. And this actually mixed some really lovely soft neutrals that in certain mixes would actually be quite nice for like a soft skin tone, or even for like animal fur and stuff, again depending on which end of the mixture you want to go with. Then next up, this is probably one of my favourite ones, it's Lunar Blue by Daniel Smith, and this is a really beautifully granulating blue, like dark blue, mixed with Potter's Pink, and this Potter's Pink is by Winsor & Newton. It's just the one that I had a tube of at the moment. I do prefer the Schmincke Potter's Pink to the Winsor & Newton one. I just think it re-wets better, but the Winsor & Newton was the one I had. And then you see some beautiful soft sort of purple toned greys coming out of it, and I think it's really beautiful. It would make a beautiful sort of elephant skin colour, that sort of Lunar Blue and Potter's Pink mix, and that's not something I ever would have thought of on my own. So you know, this is why these sort of mixing exercises are really great to like figure out these sorts of things. And so now we're mixing Cascade Green by Daniel Smith with Lunar Earth, which is also by Daniel Smith. And again, these made some really beautiful separating, granulating mixes. It was definitely a lot of fun experimenting. And I also splattered some clean water on top to just see how that would affect things. Next up, we are mixing Lunar Red Rock with French Ultramarine. The Lunar Red Rock is by Daniel Smith, and the French Ultramarine is by Schmincke, I think. And yeah, I didn't really determine which colours I was going to mix with which. I just kind of looked at my palette and was like, oh, I'm going to pick this one and this one. It seems I mostly picked colours that were kind of like to some degree opposites on the colour wheel, not always but a lot of the time, but it was just really fun to experiment and see what sort of different mixes would come up, how they would granulate with each other and all of that. So here we're mixing Cobalt Teal by Core with Galaxy Pink by Schmincke. This is from their new last year, their super granulating watercolor range, and you just see me mixing it up there. So because the palette that I have doesn't have like a dedicated mixing area, the lid, I keep meaning to convert the lid into like a mixing area Haven't done that yet, so I just have this ceramic palette next to me for mixing in, and that works perfectly fine. And yeah, again, this also made some really beautiful soft mixes. Actually, I also really like the mix between Cobalt Teal and Galaxy Pink, like right in the middle. Once it dried, there was a soft bit of color separation, and I also think that would make a beautiful elephant skin color. I think a lot of these like muted sort of grayish, purpley grayish, pinkish colors make really beautiful, would be beautiful sort of like elephant skin color. I don't know why I seem to be fixated on elephants at the moment. Alright, so now we're mixing up Cobalt Green from Lucas with Aussie Red Gold. I think that's the only colour I did twice in this whole thing. And again, that created some really beautiful, lively, granulating greens, which is just stunning. And finally, we are mixing up Sodalite by Daniel Smith with Buff Titanium, also by Daniel Smith. And again, this gave some really beautiful, soft, granulating greys, which... I don't want to say it again, but you know which animal I think this would make some beautiful colour for. And yeah, so that's what that looks like. And then I decided to go in and paint the stems as well while I was at it. I think I did a mix of Mahogany Brown, I did some with Burnt Umber, and I think I did some with another colour. I can't remember which now. I didn't write down. I've got my sketchbook in front of me. Oh, Moonglow. I think I did some in Moonglow. But yeah, I've got my sketchbook in front of me just so I could double check the colours, because I realised after I finished recording I hadn't written down which colours I'd used in the actual sketchbook, so I have written them down after the fact before I forgot, so now I've got it in front of me to use as a reference while we're talking. And yeah, so thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this little exercise, and if you are struggling to think of what to paint, or you just want to experiment with your watercolors, just doodle some little pictures and use them for color mixing exercises. I think it's a lot of fun. Takes the pressure off, and you still get to play around with your paints, which I always think is a bonus. Okay, this is actually the last spread in this book, and I think the video after this one, or shortly after this one, is going to be a sketchbook flip through, so I hope you're looking forward to that. And yeah, this is what my finished palette looked like, all beautiful and granulating and colour separating. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And if you enjoy this content, that is, please subscribe. We would love to have you back. I'm trying to post around twice a week. I have quite a backlog of videos at the moment that I need to finish editing, so there might be some weeks where I post 3 videos. So my posting schedule is a little bit erratic in the sense that I don't have set days that I publish, but I am trying to post twice a week. I'm aiming for Tuesdays and Fridays at the moment, but we will see how that goes. And there might be a bonus video on the weekends when I have extra time to get some editing done. Okay, like I said, I'm just showing some close-ups here of the colours once they've been dried, so you can sort of see some of the colour mixes are more subtle in terms of granulation, and others are definitely more out there in their granulation. Like this Potter's Pink and Lunar Blue is really beautiful and softly granulating, it's not too in your face, whereas this Lunar Earth and Cascade Green, both are very strongly granulating colours, and they do really pop out in terms of that granulation. And again, with the Cobalt Green and Aussie Red Gold, that granulation is really soft and gentle. And yeah, anyway, like I said, I hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you guys very, very soon. And until next time, take care. Bye for now.